Hey y'all, it is June the 19th, 2024. Real quickly, just because there's so much other things, and I plan to upload another video that's for the most part going to be what I think is the most important pressing matter, to include all the heinous, diabolical, despicable things that are happening in America, but all around the world. But I did want to address this video, the Jesse Lee Peterson versus racism video, and shout out, my name's up there on the title of the video, and yes, I did give it the thumbs up. I'm that guy. I did it first. And I gotta say, my man, Mr. Shepard, he's my brother. Um, I basically agree. I would like to say 100%, but let's just say 99% with all what he said, right? I really can't find fault in like what he was saying. Right? You can check out his video. Obviously, you should be subscribed. Um, I think where he doesn't he might misunderstand Jesse, and I can't blame him for that because honestly, from what I've observed, you have to listen to Jesse Lee Peterson for hundreds of hours, like myself. Perhaps you might have to listen to him for hundreds of hours for it to really finally sink in. And I don't expect for anyone to listen to Jesse Lee Peterson for hundreds of hours. You'd have to be really intrigued by him the way that I am. I wouldn't expect for anybody to do that. But if I were to explain it as quickly and as retardedly as I possibly can, because I'm not a very smart guy, what Jesse is getting at when he says it's no racism, there never was racism, is that Satan, who's real, who, from what I understand, most people really don't believe that he is real. Just in the way that God is real, but most people, they really don't understand that God is real. And, they think it's like a pretend thing to make yourself feel better and stuff. That's what most people go to church for, is to make themselves feel good. On the opposite end of the spectrum, it's like myself and like Mr. Shepard, and we kind of get down to the nitty gritty of things. We want to know for real. We don't want to know on the surface of things like most people do. So when Jesse Lee Peterson says, "Oh, racism never existed," it's hard to take in. Like I said, hundreds of hours you'd have to try to absorb what he's saying. And basically, he's repetitive. He's going to repeat the same things over and over and over. And they might not stick at first, but eventually you'll understand. Not because he said it, but just because you'll live long enough to really know, to understand, not because someone said it, but because you know. It's hard to believe that racism doesn't exist because, of course, black people have been done dirty, and they have been. I can't deny that they've been. When you talk about the system and everything, black people have been done dirty. In fact, they're done the dirtiest out of everybody, and I'm definitely willing to admit that. However, racism, it's like it's like pixie dust. It doesn't really exist necessarily. What does exist is hatred. And I don't know how many people, maybe 99% of people, if we're just going to say it like that, they have hatred in their heart. And simply they don't know better. You can't intellectually overcome hatred. Just like you can't intellectually overcome anger. And most people think hatred's fine in little amounts or anger is fine in little amounts. It isn't. And I'm saying that as a person who I have thoughts just like everybody else, and these thoughts make me want to be angry or make me want to have hate for people. So hatred is a tool of Satan. Anger is a tool of Satan. And he uses that tool in order to conquer. So if you were to say like early America, when America's being founded, or up until the Civil War and all this, black people were done dirty. That's just a fact. At the same time, and maybe in lesser factors, everybody else was done dirty. Irish people were done dirty, that's for sure. Japanese people were done dirty. Everybody was done dirty. People who were poor were done dirty. So Satan, he uses every human who has anger and who has hatred as a tool for his own means. And of course, this system that we're talking about, these people who make up the system in which we're talking about, they are over the top, 100%, 1000% full of hatred and anger. And yes, they will use themselves as weapons against the world, and all they want to do is conquer. But the thing is, it's not really them. They're being used by Satan. Satan wants to conquer. And he'll use you. I don't care if you're at the tippy top of the pyramid. He'll use you, chew you up, spit you out just as soon as he wants to. Just as soon as he loses use for you, you're gone. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need you. He doesn't think of humans that way, and neither does God. See, God uses people as tools for good, and Satan uses them for bad. So, in a sense, like he would use white people who had hatred, who had anger. He would use any kind of people in order to keep down the black people in the way that he did. And so now, as we go further and further down the line, we realize that Satan never had love for anybody. Satan tricked everybody into thinking, oh, if I have hatred for these people, well, I can treat them any sort of way. Oh, if I have anger towards these people, well, then I can treat them as though they're not human. And therefore, I can put them down. I can hold them down. And a lot of people would call that racism. Say, oh, they don't look like me. They're different. So I can hate them and I can treat them any sort of way. They're not realizing they're being used as a tool for Satan. And so it's in that regard that, yeah, black people have been done dirty, that's for sure. But it was never to uplift the white people. Like when they talk about white supremacy, it really doesn't matter. Because all matters is that Satan is using whomever he chooses. And so now in 2024, there's countless black people who I see them on the TV, or I don't see the TV, but other people watch the TV. And he's using those black people for the same exact purposes that he was using, say, those white people who he was using as tools all along. It does, like to Satan, it doesn't matter. That's what I want to stress. He will use you, and he will get you to do his bidding, and you won't even know that you're doing his bidding. You'll think that you'll think, even white people will think in their mind, oh, I'm racist, and I just want to hold these people down, or I hate these people and stuff like that. They don't realize they're being used, and it doesn't matter. They're going down too. And I think that's the best way that I could put it, technically. So now, as things have become modern and stuff, the people he's using in order to take everyone down, they're of all shades and all whatever. It does not matter. And so I think this is why Jesse Lee Peterson, and I don't look at Jesse Lee Peterson like he's Jesus, right? I don't, of course, look at him like he's God or anything. There's certain things that my life experience is going to differ on Jesse Lee Peterson, but for the most part, when he's talking about hatred, he says racism doesn't exist. Hatred exists. And people say, oh, but what about the system? Yeah, the system is meant to conquer you and defeat you. And I don't care what race you are. They're meaning to do it. These people are possessed by Satan. And so long as the mass population around the world, and it is true, as long as they have anger or hatred in their hearts, they will also unknowingly be used by Satan in order to bring down the human race. And that's actually a fact that God knows full well. God knows full well that will happen. And I'll end the video by saying that, for whatever people think about it, God does not care how many human beings need to be deleted in the process of eliminating hatred and anger off the world. He simply does not care. And this is where people get angry at God. Well, God doesn't like hatred and anger. So if you have that and you get deleted off the world, it does not matter one bit to him. Same exact thing could be said for Satan or Lucifer or Baal or all these other things that are against God. They could care less. They are absolutely not concerned with the melanin in your skin. They're just not. And it's real deep. I can't even pretend like I understand what I'm saying right now. It's that deep. But I know in my heart that hatred and anger will be my downfall. And I'm not talking about my human existence and my body and my flesh that I have right now. It'll be hatred and anger will be the downfall of my entire soul. And if I can't learn to put that past me and only believe in God, like don't believe in anything else. I have a daughter. I would love to see her. I have good buddies and I got brothers and stuff, and I want the best for them. There's strangers who I'll never meet, and I want the best for them. If I cannot remove all hatred and anger from my soul, then my soul, I know, will go down to hell where it belongs. And I'd hate to say that, but it will. And we're living in very serious time. It's the end of days. It's the end of days. I'll holla at y'all a little bit more, but shout out to my brother, Mr. Shepherd. He's spitting some real facts, and he's really digging for the truth, just like me. I'm no better than him. I'm no better than anybody. In God's eyes, all he cares about, all God cares about, is that you believe in him and nobody else. Because if you believe in anything other than him, you're destined for absolute destruction of your soul. And your soul lives well beyond this world, well beyond this dimension. So I'll holler at y'all a little bit later.